Hello, 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 everybody. It's Annika LaQuette here, the host and creator of Never Gave a Nine podcast. Y'all, I got my girl on, okay? I got Tyisha. Y'all, this girl right here, I've known her for a long time, okay? Back in the day, all right? We went to school together, and I'm so excited to have her on. So, y'all, get into it. This is Tyisha. Hey, girl.
Hey girl, hey.
How are you, girl? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I feel really good.
That's
How have
good.
you been?
I've been doing good. Y'all, I haven't seen my girl in a long time, and I'm so happy to have family on today, okay?
It's been a
So y'all can see her.
it's been a minute.
Yes, it has, okay? It's been some years, but we have her here today, and I'm so freaking excited, okay? So, y'all, I know her personally, but let her tell herself. So, y'all, what we need to know about you, girl? So, tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Tyisha Henderson from South Carolina. Um, we met on the USC Aiken campus, and I tell you, it's
Mhm.
like Aiken. It became a mini HBCU for a second. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay.
We met on campus. I was the president of Curls, which is a natural hair care
Hmm.
organization, confident, unique, regal, leading society. It's still on campus, which is one of my proudest accomplishments to date. One of them.
That's
Um,
good.
I studied psychology. I was always interested in traveling and just seeing the world more. And so after that,
Hmm.
I applied to AmeriCorps, and I went to DC and I worked in DC for like two and a half, 3 years. I became a certified yoga
Yep.
instructor there. I worked with fifth grade math students. And I also worked with students that were at risk, either getting their
Okay.
GED. That was at a bilingual school. So, muy poquito español, so that was that kind of opened my mind up even more to the world. Um, and I enjoyed DC. It was a great time. It was a hard time as well too,
Ooh.
because it was also the first time I was out of that college bubble. When you're on campus, you have
Yeah.
freedom, but you're still in a bubble. When I was in DC, I was
Girl,
in
yeah.
the bubble. On top of having all that
Mhm.
freedom and responsibility, and so that was a growing phase for me. Um, became certified yoga instructor, did that, and I really saw that Black people, we in every facet, like from the yoga instructor to the doctor to the gynecologist to the every
Yep.
to the dentist, like it's we everywhere, and that's what I really loved about.
Mhm.
And then of course COVID happened, the world shut down, and I ended up moving back home.
Ooh.
Fergie has a song, if you ain't got no money, take your broke home.
Okay.
But and but it was funny because during that time, I was fighting with God, but no one wins a fight with Jesus, with God. So I was like, no, God, I don't want to go home. And I felt like my grace had ran out in DC. My grace and my mercy had like ran its course. And I remember calling my mom, and I was like, yeah, mom, I think I'm ready to come home. And she's like, okay, we can be there this weekend. We can get the van. We can get all this stuff. We are ready. And I was like, okay, you too prepared. And I was like, well, give me a few more weeks. Give me a few more weeks. And those few weeks went by and everything went crazy. It was just, I was like, God, you really want me to leave here? And I kid you not, Annika, I moved home, and like about a week later, the world shut down. Like the timing of it doesn't
Wow.
get any better. Um, and so yeah, I was in Columbia for about 4 years. Went to work. Oh, while I was in DC, I went to grad school for a little bit. Um, yeah, that was a time too.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Yeah, I came home 4 years, had these jobs, and I noticed that I don't like really working for other people as I'm in a job right now. But I've learned my ideal environment for jobs and leadership wise, like how I would like that set up. And so now I'm in the
Right.
Peace Corps. I've applied to the Peace Corps, and I'm a health volunteer in the Gambia, West Africa. And the Gambia is literally in the middle of Senegal. So you have Senegal all around us, and Gambia is literally just stuck in the middle. It's a small but mighty country.
Hmm.
The people
Okay.
the people are beautiful inside and out. The food is delicious. I haven't really tasted anything I don't like. Everything is so good, and I've heard "Welcome Home" so many times. And it's really like, hey sis, it's
Yeah.
beautiful being here. But my goal here is also to work with pregnant women and children. Before I left, I became a certified doula as well too. And so I am just I'm here on an assignment, and I pray that God uses me, and I get out my own way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've been trying
Okay.
to get to
Period.
Africa forever. Never gave denied. I was trying to get to Africa. I've been trying to get to the
I
motherland
believe it.
since I left
Okay.
Aiken. So it's been a minute, but I'm here now. I'm here.
Yep. Period. I'm so excited for you, girl. Like,
Thank
I know your story. I've seen it and throughout your, years and on social media and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah, you finally made it to Africa. I know you. That's what you was talking about in college too. You wanted to go to Africa, and you are there. Okay,
Yeah,
full circle.
yeah.
So
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. I'm so happy for you. So, could you give us like a little bit more information about what the Peace Corps is? Because I know a lot of people say, "What is the Peace Corps and how can I join?" And different things like that. So, tell us about the Peace Corps.
Yeah, okay. So the Peace Corps was started in the 60s, actually with JFK Kennedy. It was one of his
Hmm.
big initiatives before he got assassinated. Um, and so in the 60s, I think I'm gonna just say the 60s because I don't want to get the year wrong.
Okay.
But it started in the 60s, and he had this goal of sending young people out to countries, not only to help the country, but to also like just
Hmm.
open people's worldview of what America is, but also what other
Right.
countries are as well too. Because while we're here, we're like ambassadors for America. I've had so many people ask me about the election and what that looks like in America and how that's being affected, and so we have to like also navigate that too. But the whole goal of Peace Corps is to be to spread peace and also to be a friendly ambassador. It's like really that corny. It's to spread peace and to be a friendly ambassador to other countries. And so they do have different sectors. They have education, health, which I'm in, agriculture, community business development as well too. And so you have several options you can get into the Peace Corps too. So you have the 2 year option, which I'm doing. I'll be here for 2 years. I can extend for 3. We'll
Okay.
see how it goes.
You will see.
And in that 2 years, they put you into a village or to a rural place. You can pick wherever you want to. In the world, they have places in Europe, South America, Africa, Australia, things like that. I picked Africa. And you learn the local language for about 3 months. You learn the basics of being in that country, and you also get to meet with a cohort of people. You're not just going there as one person. There's usually a cohort. The smallest cohort I've seen was 4 people, and in my cohort we had 15, but then 4 left, and so now it's 11, and we told each other,
Okay.
y'all better not leave. Okay, we can't afford to lose no more people, so y'all gotta stay. Um, so yeah, so you have those sectors. You have 2 years. That's the volunteer, and then you have about a year and a half, maybe 18 months, and that's a response volunteer. And that one is more centralized or more niche based. So
Okay.
the people I know, you don't have to have a master's for it, but you do have to have a lot of experience in the field. The response volunteers I know, they are doing like GIS technology based work right now in the Gambia, really looking at how to help with forest fires. The Gambia is very flat
Okay.
and it has a dry season, and that dry season is girl, it's dry. And so they're just trying to figure out how to best either plant more trees, figure out like water sources, and how to figure out how to move the water a little bit differently throughout the country. But yeah, you do have options, and there's no age limit. Well, 18. You have to be 18.
Okay.
But yeah, they take people that's in their 70s. As long as you can walk, lift, and you're pretty healthy, that is a thing to join the Peace Corps. And you can travel wherever pretty
Okay.
much. And they pay for the plane ticket. Oh, wait. I told myself if I was ever gonna tell somebody about Peace Corps, the health, once you get through the application, there's a health
Mm-hmm.
and that health screening is intense because you're
Mm.
going to a whole nother country, and that country is not set up like America with our doctors, our therapists, our gynecologists, our dentists. So they test from the rooter to the tutor. It's it's so much, and if you don't have insurance, it's even more expensive. I didn't have insurance, but God provided. Never gave denied. God provided during
Mm.
during my whole health screening process because it was stressful. That health
Ooh.
screening, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit stressful because they need so much. They test you for diseases. They test your dental work. They test your your mental health. Um,
Ooh.
it's a lot. It's worth it because once you get here, you can say, "Well, I got a clean bill of health. Nothing really is gonna affect me or bother me." So, but that health screening, if you haven't,
Ooh. Wow.
definitely use it.
Yeah. And see, I was going to ask you that, like, what challenges did you face throughout the application process? So you kind of went into that because what? I didn't know they do the health screening, which is good. We need that.
Yeah,
But what? I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and depending on the country that you go to, you'll need like
Hmm.
vaccines. So I needed the yellow fever to come to
Yeah.
Africa, and I got the yellow fever, but I also needed to get another dose of polio because polio is actually prevalent here. Funny enough, not funny, it's not at all,
Wow.
but they actually had a polio campaign recently to get kids vaccinated for polio. So it might be eradicated in America, but in other countries are
Hmm.
still dealing with it. Um, and so speaking on that polio and the yellow fever, they're both, I think, live viruses, and I couldn't get them
Hmm.
together. Mind you, the doctors that I went to see, no one told me, and I didn't know that. And so it really affected the timeline because, like I said, I didn't have insurance. So I was really hustling to get the money
Yeah.
to go to these doctors to get it figured out. And so when I finally did that, um, they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you got your polio shot. You have to wait like 2 weeks up to 30 days to get your next one." On top of that, the health screening is on a timeline because a lot of these
I believe it.
vaccines they have to be cleared before we can even get on the plane. And so no one told me, and I remember calling my mom and I was like, "Mom, I don't know what's happening. They not communicating. This is so difficult." And she was like, "Well, it's glad that you know now when you have time. Can you see it, Tyisha?" And I was like, "If I squint my eyes, no, I can't."
Okay.
But my mom is like, she's always
Ooh.
like the silver lining. She's like, "It's gonna be okay." And I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh. But
My mom the same way.
I
Lord.
was like, oh. But it did work out. So like I had about a day. I had a day, that silver lining between my yellow
Hmm.
fever and my polio, and so I was able to be cleared. But that health screening and the communication, it was just difficult. It was just very difficult. And so I would say if you do the Peace Corps, um, to make sure that you're organized as well too with your health screenings, I made sure I emailed myself a copy of all the
Okay.
documents. So I literally have an email chain of all my test results. And so even if I need to go back to them, um, I have this whole email chain where I would just upload all my from like your sexual health, your mental health, your physical health, and things like that. It's all in this one email chain, and I can easily access it as well too. So having that organization is very important as well too.
And see, that's good.
Yeah.
Yes, because you got receipts. You like, I done got my health screening. Y'all better not ask me nothing. So, yes, okay. So, yeah, you are completely right. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. See, that surprised
Yeah.
me. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it does make sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, because
So, yes, I could.
it's so wild. Oh, and you get reimbursed as well too. So after you paid for all of this stuff, you do get reimbursed. So I did get my money back, and it came back on a pretty good time.
Okay.
As well too. So they do make you pay for it, but then they also reimburse you as well too for all of that.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you got your money back. That's good. Yes, ma'am. So, speaking of like mental health, like how did you prepare mentally and physically for the Peace Corps?
Yeah. So how did I prepare? So I'm a big advocate for therapy. So I've always been going to therapy. About maybe 2 or 3 months before I applied, I actually stopped therapy because I was like, I think I'm in a good place. I think I have all these tools. I have all the things that I need in my toolbox. And so I stopped going to therapy. And I think that was helpful. If you're still going to therapy, they will ask you, what are some things that you discuss? What are some of your coping mechanisms? Because in the Peace Corps, depending on where you are, you will be a little isolated. And I only say isolated is because of the language. That language barrier is pretty big. I didn't know how big it was until I got here. And everyone is speaking like everything but English. And girl, if they are speaking English, it's a thick accent on top. And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So with my mental health, I did check back in with my therapist, and I just asked her, hey, can you fill out this questionnaire? They give you a questionnaire to give to your therapist. So there's already like predetermined questions of how do you handle stress? What are your coping mechanisms? What are you going to therapy for? How long have you been going to therapy? And also to remind you that there's not a therapist in the Gambia that I could go to, but they do have a like an online. I think it's called It's like My Help or My. It's something about like mental health. It's kind of like BetterHelp if you heard of BetterHelp.
Yeah,
But
that'll
it looks
help.
like it's more like for Peace Corps. So they have an online therapist. If you do need someone to speak to, you do have that option as well too. And so I hope that answered your question of how I prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You did answer my question because yeah. Okay, so the therapy, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I like that. So, what is the biggest challenge that you face? Because I know you said it was the language, but what is the biggest challenge that you faced once you got there in Africa?
Yeah. I'm really gonna say the language because
The language, okay.
now, mind you, the Peace Corps, wherever you're going, they will teach you like the basics of your language, right? Because they know,
Okay.
like, they're gonna put you in a village with everyone that probably doesn't speak English, and so yeah, the language was huge. And I already knew that it was a mostly Muslim country. So the Gambia is over 90% Muslim. Mind you, I'm Christian. And so I have an
Right.
idea of
Mhm.
like the praying 5 times a day. It's
Yeah.
different when you actually hear the people praying and you see them like washing and getting prepared for prayer 5 times throughout the
Okay.
day. Um, back to the difficulty. The language was difficult is difficult a little bit because that's how you connect with people a lot of times is through language, right?
Mhm.
And I'm learning
Right.
Mandinka, which is from it's actually Kunta Kinte. If y'all seen Roots, Kunta Kinte is from the
Mm-hmm.
Gambia, and he's a Mandinka warrior, or he not a warrior. He's a Mandinka man.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning like his language, and baby, it's it's nice, but it's also a little difficult.
Yeah.
when you do speak it to like Gambians, they're so excited. They light up. Like when you say Kotanante and they be like Tanante, they be like, oh, look at
Oh.
you. I'm busy as a bucket.
That's so cute.
But it's once you get past the greetings as well too. I think another thing that might be difficult is America is pretty isolated. America is pretty isolated, and when you get to the Gambia, it's family. Like it's family everywhere you go. Everyone is connected. Like the 6 degrees of separation, it's more like 3 degrees of separation because everybody is connected some way somehow. It's mind blowing to me. And so also having like that family aspect and being connected to people, if you're not used to like having like, hey sis, how you doing? Or having someone to like chat and check up on you, that might be difficult. Like, I need my space, like back up. Like it's okay. But no, I say often that you really can't be alone in the Gambia. Because people see you. Greetings are so important. Whenever you go somewhere, even if you're not Muslim, salam alaikum, peace be unto you, wa alaikum salam, and that really opens the door for you in a lot of situations, because if you don't speak to me, why do I have to help you?
Yeah.
And I'm also a guest in their country, so I shouldn't just be walking around like, so I definitely want to be respectful and greet people, and things like that. So the language is still difficult and a little bit of the culture, but I think the language is like whipping my butt.
I believe it, cause baby, that language, yeah, with the accent, especially you said if they speak English, is accents added to it, so you have to kind of have like a listening ear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand. Yeah, I completely understand. So I have a question about this. Like everybody has like what they think is going to happen and then what actually happens. So what was your expectation versus like what's actually going on when when you arrived at Africa? And also the Peace Corps, like what was your expectation before the Peace Corps and then what it is now?
Let's see. That's a really good question. My expectation of the Peace Corps was probably for it to just be a little bit more organized and the communication to be better, because they've been doing it since the 60s. But that health screening, I'm telling you, that health screening, because it took about a month, maybe 2 months to get it all situated. And so, yeah, I wasn't expecting for that to be so difficult or for that to be so time consuming in the fact with the Peace Corps because of the 60s, but whatever. Now being in Africa, being in West Africa, let's see. My expectation, I don't know why, but girl, I was really expecting I'm a land, I'm gonna be like, what's up? I'm gonna say hey to everybody. I'm gonna just like, language. I was like, cause I'm black. The language gonna come to me automatically. Like,
girl, no.
They gonna like like my DNA is just gonna download it. Like I'm gonna soak it up. No. It's not what's happening. But what is happening is I'm finding, so in my village, we're not supposed to share our village, but in my village, you have to meet the Okalo. And the Okalo is like the chief of the village. Because as a visitor, you don't just walk into a village and just start doing work. You have to pay your respects. You have to pay your dues. And so I went to the Okalo, and my welcome was so beautiful. I'm going off your question. I'm going to come back to it. But my welcome...
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
My welcome was so beautiful. Girl, I had drums and a parade and people dancing. It was...
Come on, parade.
I cried. I was like, oh my God, this is real.
Aww.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And so you see that on TV, but to be the recipient of it is different. I wasn't expecting that. And I cried, and then I laughed a little bit, and then I danced. because girl, when you get here, they gonna make you get out and dance. So I got out the truck
I
and
believe
I
it.
started, doing my little dance. But I also met the Okalo, which is the chief, and he said something. He was like, you look like us. You're like my daughter. You're like my
Oh,
niece, and so you're one of us, and so we're gonna protect you. We're gonna look out for you, and whatever you need, let us know, and we got you. You're one of us. You look like us. You my daughter, and we're so happy to have you here, right? And I wasn't expecting that to be so explicit, and then for them, and then whenever I go throughout the village, they're always saying that, like, you my daughter, you my niece, you belong to us. We got you. It's
that's
one
good.
thing to think you're gonna have that, but it's one thing for people to repeatedly say that to you and kind of just affirm you. And that's my love language, words of affirmation. So I'm just getting affirmed
Mine
here,
too.
okay? Um, that was I didn't have that expectation specifically, but to see it manifest and to see it happen was beautiful. Um, and also, I didn't expect to be living so minimal. So right now, I'm like
Hmm.
in a really nice room. This isn't my room. I'm actually on vacation right now. So,
I'm okay.
um, so this is. Oh, I wish I could show you my village. I wish I could show you my room in the village. But it's so basic, girl. I have a latrine. And I don't know if you've ever been camping, but it's literally a hole in the ground. And I wasn't
Ooh, wait.
expecting that. You know what I mean? Like they tell
Right.
us no running water and things like that, but to actually
Live
live
it.
it, there I couldn't find the
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
But to
Okay.
actually live it is different. And so that is one thing about the Peace Corps. It's minimal. You have like a very
Hmm.
minimal lifestyle. Um and so yeah, that
Okay.
bathroom, the
That makes
bathroom
sense.
setup is
Mm-mm.
it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe it because yeah. Yeah. But you know what? It sounds like you are adjusting really well.
No, thank you.
Like, yeah, it's like you adjusting, even though it's like, okay, this is not what I'm used to,
Mm-mm.
but I'm happy to be
Oh,
here and I'm
yeah,
adjusting.
I am happy to be here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's wild.
yeah, but you got it. I understand. So, other than like the greeting and your welcome, what was the most memorable moment of, your time?
Um, you know that the welcome it can't be beat because I don't think any
Mm,
Peace Corps got that welcome. And also
okay.
had like matching outfits. I had like they call it a sobies, and so a sobie is like
Hmm.
where all the family wears like the same type of fabric or pattern. They might be dressed
Yeah.
up differently, but it's the same fabric. And so I actually had an asobi with like my host mom and some of the women in the village.
Oh,
Um, so we had matching outfits. Uh,
come on, matching outfit.
cute. It was really cute. Um, what else was memorable though? The welcome was top tier, like number one. Number two, um, it might be going to the bush. So the bush in Mandinka is Wolokono. So I went to the Wolokono.
Mhm.
In Kataha, Wolokono, I went to the bush. And in the bush is where they grow ground nuts or peanuts. And I have a
Okay.
whole new appreciation for peanuts in America um, because I've seen the entire process from picking up the peanuts, shaking them
Hmm.
out, separating the peanuts, shelling the peanuts, seeing how the peanut
Wow.
butter is made, like in the machine,
Yeah.
um, selling the peanut butter. Like I've seen almost the whole process except for maybe planting the groundnuts. But to
Okay.
see the whole process of the harvest from the ground literally to the table and what they do with the peanuts, I think that's one of the most memorable um, aspects of being here because I never knew how much work went into a peanut. Um,
Wow.
I never knew. You know, we got like who was it? George Washington Carver, the Peanut Man that had like
Yes.
300 inventions from a peanut. I see.
Yes.
I see how he did that because
Yep.
peanuts are amazing and they taste so good. You could do so much. I've seen people make soap with it. And the soap is actually pretty it's
So,
yeah, this I've seen soap. Mr. Carver was on to something, okay? Um
yeah, he
he
was.
was on to something because the peanut is it's also the backbone of the Gambia political system too, because one of the first, I believe, presidents, he was a groundnut farmer, and he was so successful with his farming that he started one of the political parties in the Gambia based off of that money from his groundnut farm. You get what I'm saying? Just the
Yeah.
history behind groundnuts in Gambia with European countries like taking their groundnuts and like telling them they can't sell it, but then selling their it's the groundnut process and the groundnut history in the Gambia. It's pretty amazing. It's phenomenal. That and also rice. So
Okay. Yeah.
we in
Rice. Yes.
South Carolina, and you know
Mm-hmm.
Charleston, Charleston, like the Gullah Geechee area. Tell me
Yep.
why I learned this while I was here. The same practices that South Carolina plantations were using were is from the
Mm-hmm.
Gambia. So a lot of
Wow.
so it's wild, you know. So I'm wondering how
Mm-hmm.
many people from South Carolina, like the Charleston area, the Beaufort area, are have family ties in the Gambia because girl,
Yep.
rice is top tier. It's they have a saying. They was like a Gambian doesn't think they've ate in a day if they didn't have rice with their meal. Like rice is a
Wow.
staple. And
Wow.
yeah, I'm wondering like how man, it's a connection. And I really want more
It
people,
is.
especially from South Carolina, maybe Charleston, to check out Gambia. It's a small country. It's a beautiful country. Um, and just seeing how the rice is cultivated in South Carolina and the rice is cultivated in Gambia is similar. But overall, my most memorable aspect of being in the Gambia has been seeing the groundnut process from the bush to the table. It's been amazing. It's been phenomenal.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that's really good. Like, see, yeah, you done dropped some history on us, okay? Because a lot of people probably do not know that, but I knew that the rice is very important. Like, it's a rich thing to have. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and incorporating hair, and so people could eat, and yeah, okay. You done dropped some history. I love that. Okay, I'm all about history. So you dropped some
Yep.
history for us. So yes. So I know you talked a little bit about the application process,
Mhm.
but for anyone who wants to join the Peace Corps, how can someone join the Peace Corps?
Yeah. So it really is as simple as going to the website, um, checking out some of the sites that they do have available. And you have an option. You can just apply to be anywhere, or you can apply to be in a certain country. Excuse me. And so you go to the website, click apply. Of course, I would always say look up what you want to like, at least have 3 to 5 countries that you want to see
Right.
or you want to visit, and also have an idea of what you want to do. Do you want to do something more health related, education? So I will say this: a lot of if you choose education, it is a little bit more structured. Like you have the Monday through Friday school schedule, free on the weekends. If you want to be more flexible, I'm learning that health and agriculture are more kind of like free flowing. You have your clinic hours, you have your time on the farm, things like that, depending on the
Right.
country you go to. Um, but you would go to, I think it's peacecorps.gov or peacecorps.org. Um, click apply. You can also talk to a recruiter. I was gonna say talk to me. I can help you, but I don't always have Wi-Fi, so I might respond to you like 2 weeks later, and you like Ty, what happened? And that would be
That's
on me.
fine. We know what's going on.
But but definitely you can. I've already said this so many times. Go to the website. You can actually connect to a recruiter. They do have webinars where you can meet with
Okay.
people online from like the comfort of wherever you are. Um, and then also go in with some type of plan. You know, be free with like expectations, but at least know where you want to go or the area that you want to be in and the area of specialty you want to have as well too. Because I wanted to do South America, the Caribbean, or Africa. And so if I was placed in any of those places, I would have been happy. So I got the motherland. So I'm super happy.
Period. I'm so happy for you, girl.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
So give yourself a shout out, okay? Where people can follow you in your journey. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, so I have this Facebook group that I'm doing with like family and friends. I should probably make it a little bit more public because what I'm seeing is pretty amazing here. I do have Instagram, Ty_yogi, because I am a yogi. And Facebook as well too. I do have a business. It's a holistic wellness business called the King's Project, and so it's the King's Project LLC, and that's also on Instagram as well too. And it's really about bridging faith and wellness together. I think the Wi-Fi cut out.
Hello?
Yep. So my business online, it's a holistic wellness center where I combine yoga and doula services, and it's called the King's Project LLC. And I started that, it's 2025, so I started that 2023, 2024. So it's still pretty new, but I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's it. That's all the questions I have.
Okay.
I just want you to come back on and finish your shout out, because I'm like, I need her to finish everything.
Oh.
But yes, you're good. Yes, ma'am. So now you're welcome. And see, I got you all the way in Africa, okay?
Africa,
so
baby.
We're double international.
We international.
Period. So yes, international. So I'm so excited. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then people, of course, they're gonna want to join the Peace Corps, and I'm like, I need somebody who's gonna be a part of it. So, and it's definitely you, because I saw the pictures. I saw your welcome. If I'm not mistaken, you had posted your welcome on social media, and I was like, I need to have her on here so she can talk about it. So,
mind you,
I'm so excited, girl.
Thank you. Peace Corps is still very white, and so just be prepared for that too. It's still very white, but we're here. There's Black people all throughout Peace Corps, and they have groups for Black people in the Peace Corps, for people in Africa, for people in the Caribbean, and so don't let that be a shock for you. Of course, it was started by a white man in the 60s, and so it still has some of those remnants in it, which I do think Peace Corps is working to change, but it's still not there yet. So to still be mindful and aware that it's a great organization for what it's doing, and just having that experience as well too.
That's good. Yeah, we need some more Black people in the Peace Corps. Okay, so yes, I completely understand. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, that's all I have for you today, girl.
I'm excited. Okay.
Yes. And remember, yes, life was delayed, but it never gave denied. I am your host, Annika Laquette, and you just listened to Never Gave Denied podcast. Bye.